Trump has announced a ceasefire in Lebanon. Here's what you need to know. The first point is that Trump has imposed this on Netanyahu. Israel doesn't want a ceasefire. Israel's been making plans to annex the south of Lebanon and expand its borders. Israel's security cabinet declared an emergency meeting after Trump had called them, presumably to try to declare the ceasefire themselves and control the PR narrative afterwards. But Trump announced it before the meeting even ended. The second point worth noting is that this ceasefire is easier for all parties to accept because they can all create a PR narrative around it. Trump can claim that he ended another conflict. The Iranians will say that the ceasefire came about because of their pressure. The Lebanese president will say that the ceasefire came about without him having to talk directly to Netanyahu as Trump had wanted him to. Netanyahu will say that his attacks led to the first official talks between the two countries in over 30 years. Hezbollah will say that the ceasefire was a result of its resistance and the subsequent sense among the Israelis that this is a harder operation for them than they thought it would be. The third point is that Trump expects the parties to come to Washington and commence what he calls historic talks. The suggestion here perhaps is that he wants to add Lebanon to the list of countries that have normalized with the Israelis and will claim that all the blunders were in fact an effective strategy to bring peace to the region. Is Lebanon about to normalize? The fourth point is that the Israelis have refused to leave southern Lebanon. Netanyahu is insisting he will remain in a reinforced security zone. So he's not interpreting ceasefire as pulling back, but as a ceasing or moving forward. Hezbollah have already said that they accept the ceasefire. But will they accept Israel staying in southern Lebanon? Will they attack the Israeli forces and give Tel Aviv an excuse to break the ceasefire? Will Iran tell them to swallow the Israeli presence as they negotiate with the US? Trump is now already linking this to the negotiations with Iran, announcing that Iran is agreeing to no nuclear weapons and restricting its enrichment for 20 years. This in exchange for the ceasefire for Lebanon. That's what Trump is suggesting. The way that Trump suggests this is as if it's a climb down on the part of the Iranians. But the Iranians were already offering this before the war and before they shut the Strait of Hormuz. In other words, Trump is trying to assert a victory in opening a strait that was already open before he followed Israel into its war, and now suggesting he's pressured the Iranians into making concessions that they were already making before the war. In other words, Trump's statement actually suggests he's no clearer on his strategy on what to do with the mess created by the war Israel led him into.